Hello and welcome to the Inside the Lines podcast, episode 3. This week we're going to be going over the week 10 games, upsets, playoff predictions, and even some week 11 thoughts. This week we have an exciting occasion. We have Andy on the podcast joining us. This will be our first guest. So we got some exciting times today. Really good week of football. We've had 2 good weeks of football, some weird upsets, a lot of stuff to hit on, makes for good content. To start, we're going to go over the week 10 slate of games, starting with Ravens 10, Dolphins 22.
Yeah, this game was like straight out of left field for me. I don't know if anybody besides Dolphins fans took the Dolphins in this game, but just feel like the Ravens didn't show up, to be quite honest.
That Dolphins defense played the game of their life, honestly. I watched the game, just what I got from it. The play calling from Baltimore was pretty horrible, in my opinion. But the Dolphins defense they played great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like.
Dolphins.
Go ahead,
the
Max.
Dolphins got some dogs on that defense. They're not a terrible team. I don't think they're 3-7 bad personally, but
The coaching
we're gonna
might
have
be
to-
3-7. I don't know if the players are 3-7.
yeah, that's a good point. They got some really athletic guys on defense, and I still think they have a bright future. Brissett sucks. He's pretty bad.
You would know, wouldn't you?
As a loyal Colts fan, I would know.
So what do you guys think this means for the Ravens then?
Nothing.
You really
I
don't?
mean, it's kind of just typical Baltimore, like one week they'll be on a really high, and then the next week they'll lose to the Browns, 0-16 Browns. So I mean, it's just kind of how they are.
Yeah, I still think they'll make the playoffs. The AFC North is an interesting division, to say the least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely.
All right, moving on from that one, we had the Bills 45 beating the New York Jets that only put up 17. Mike White threw 4 interceptions in this game. For those of you that listened to the other episode, I actually picked the Jets, and the Bills reminded me that they are actually a pretty good football team. Stephon Diggs finally had his standout fantasy performance after all of these. I see it on Twitter all the time. Diggs, he's going to have a breakout week. Go pick him up. So then I actually go pick him up, and then he scores 9. But this is the week that we've been waiting for.
yeah,
Hey,
he
but
helped me out this week. He helped me out this week for sure. I was
If I'm
waiting
not
for it for
mistaken-
about 4 weeks.
If I'm not mistaken, you called Mike White Jesus in the last podcast.
I don't remember that. I don't remember. I don't know.
Mike White
I
also-
believe you said he's a reincarnation of Jesus.
I'm pretty sure he also called himself the best quarterback in the league in a press conference. So
Yeah, he said he should have been the number 1 pick, and then he
yeah,
goes and
that's
throws
what he
4
said.
interceptions.
In the deleted version of the last podcast, I'm pretty sure we both picked the Jets in an upset.
Yeah, I mean it was
Yeah.
easy to pick the Jets. They put up a good fight against the Colts the week before, and Mike White had been playing good. I mean, the Jets defense is awful. We've seen that, but
Don't act like the Colts are a good team. Don't give me hope.
well, they're not good, but they're not bad. There's worse. Like the Jets.
The Colts are weird, man. That's what I'll say. There's a lot of weird teams in the NFL, and the Colts are definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
This
get to
is.
the-
Go ahead, Max.
Are you ready to move on?
Well, I just wanted to talk about Zach Wilson a little bit, maybe, because I don't know about it. I don't know about him, to be honest.
Well, I would say he probably gets the job back. I would assume.
Yeah, I would. Well, they put way too much into him, not for him not get more chances.
For sure.
I said in some previous podcasts that I like the 3-year quarterback rule. So you give your quarterback 3 years and hopefully build some pieces around him. And by that time, you'll really be able to tell if he's going to be able to do anything. So Zach Wilson just needs some help, I feel like.
yeah,
He
it's
has the
hard.
talent.
It's hard to make anything out of that situation in New York, especially being a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. But then again, he just could be Mormon Johnny Manziel. So who
always that
knows?
possibility.
All right. So the next,
Moving on.
or you got it, Max. You got it.
Yeah, moving on, we have the Washington football team 29 and the Buccaneers 19.
This was a doozy of a game.
for the
But,
Buccaneers. Not
yeah,
for Antonio
sure.
Gibson, though.
Gibson salvaged a pretty decent fantasy game, honestly.
He did. He did. I was very happy with him. Finally decided to give him the start after he had been setting up camp on my bench for a while. So
Probably paid off.
it did kind of. I mean, I still lost, only put up 80. Him and Zeke were the only two people that showed up on my team, unfortunately.
We all have those kind of weeks.
But I really don't want to talk about that.
Don't blame
This
me.
is interesting for the Bucs. Didn't have a super special game plan, really. They just beat the Bucs at their game. They kept the football against that Bucs defense, which I saw that the Bucs have 3 starting corners out. So they can't, like, their scheme is kind of to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, and when they have their corners healthy, they can do that because they cover a lot better. But now they have to drop more people back in coverage, so they only rush about 4-ish, maybe 3 sometimes. So Washington just had all day to do what they wanted to do with the ball. But
Yeah, certainly not what Buccaneers fans wanted to see, especially people who thought they were going to probably make another run at the Super Bowl. I mean, I could still see it.
yeah,
Personally.
they still very easily could.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for
just
sure.
one game. It doesn't really matter that much.
The interesting thing about this game for me, I didn't get to watch it, but I mean, looking at the score and keeping up with the games that was going on, I mean, this Washington defense had been horrible the entire season. They had so much hype around them. It was expected to be one of the better defenses in the NFC, and then they just completely disappoint. But then they only allowed 19 points to the Buccaneers, and really, like, kept them contained for most of that game.
Yeah, this was a better week out of that defense. I'm sure lots of people would like to see more out of them. Like what you said, they had lots of hype coming into the season, but haven't really shown up till last Sunday. Moving
Yeah.
on from that game, we had them boys, America's team, the Dallas freaking Cowboys 43 and the Falcons 3. This was much improved from last week for the Cowboys. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this game.
Much needed bounce back for the Cowboys, that's for sure.
Oh, that's murder.
Yeah, if I'm not
That's
mistaken,
awful.
it was 36-3 at halftime. And the Falcons, the Cowboys scored a special team touchdown. Matt Ryan's throwing interceptions. The Cowboys are just running all over them. And then CeeDee Lamb caught 2 touchdowns, right? 2
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
A bounce back week for Dak as well. He played really well.
Cowboys just as a whole, they played great. I mean, Falcons have some decent wins this year. Last week against the Saints, that was a pretty nice win for them. But I don't know. I don't think they're as good as what their record shows.
Now you could tell just by watching them, they gave up in this game, and it'd be hard not to give up when you're just getting whacked like that. The Cowboys, I know I'm a Cowboys fan, but they're in my opinion, the scariest team in the league. They can just do this to the Falcons. They could do this to, I feel like, multiple other teams in the league. Just go off. So, I don't
I
know.
think they just have a lot of it. They have a lot of really explosive players, which makes it easier for them to score 43 on any given night. Just because if one guy's feeling on, he can go off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could very easily argue they're the best offense in the league, and that wouldn't really be a hot take.
Could
No,
argue
it
they're the
wouldn't.
best team in the league.
Yeah, do that too.
Well, moving on. We don't want to give the Cowboys too much of a spotlight here. Moving on, we have the Saints 21, Titans 23.
I just feel like the Titans, without Derrick Henry, just keep finding ways to get it done. This wasn't really a pretty game for them, but the running game is not as good as what it was with Derrick Henry, obviously. But the Titans are doing enough to win games, and in the AFC, that'll get them the 1 seed pretty much.
Yeah, especially with all the other good teams in the AFC blowing games. Yeah, at 8-2, they've put themselves in a really good spot, and they don't have they have a fairly easy schedule yet left, if I'm correct. I think I am. I remember looking at their schedule, seeing the Colts division chances, and they did not look great.
Yeah. No, they did not. I think it'll be interesting to see where the Saints go. We talked about in the last pod how good their coach is, Sean Payton. He seems to rally his squad pretty much every week. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's certainly one of the best coaches in the NFL.
yeah, I don't really know how many games they'll win with Trevor Simeon playing quarterback. But
Going back to the Titans' schedule, I've tried to pull it up, and yeah, their schedule is it's pretty cake for the rest of the season. Other than the Patriots, Niners are on the come up, I guess, but they got the Texans twice, the Jags, Steelers, and then the Dolphins. So that's looking like a lot of wins for the Titans.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see them maybe losing one or two more games, but no more than that.
All right. Moving on from that, we had the Colts in an embarrassingly close game against the Jaguars. The Colts had 23 and the Jaguars had 17. I'll let you take this one, Max.
Well, all I got to say is a win is a win is a win is a win.
Well
That's
said.
my only takeaway.
That was very well said.
I didn't know we had William Shakespeare on the podcast.
Me neither.
Second coming of William Shakespeare.
No, I'm him.
He's that guy.
The Jaguars are pretty bad. Is pretty
Pretty
much my only
bad.
takeaway. They're really bad.
Jaguars are bad.
Oh my gosh.
Trevor Lawrence, I think, showed a little bit of promise. He threw some good footballs. He's got no time back there.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, he's got nothing.
That Jaguars O line just opens the gates.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. They made Quiddy Pay look like the version of Lawrence Taylor that's not addicted to meth.
Is there a version of Lawrence Taylor that is not addicted to meth? Because I'm pretty sure he was always addicted to meth.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I didn't get to watch that Colts game, but I wasn't too happy.
Consider yourself lucky, Andy.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know. I guess I consider myself a Colts fan. I root for them. I want them to do well. But seeing that score definitely was concerning.
The Colts are going to get throttled by the Bills next week.
I'd put a lot of money on that.
Oh boy. Well, moving on, we have one of the more interesting games of the week. One I don't even want to talk about. But the 0-8-1 Lions tie the Steelers, who are 5-3-1 now. In a game where Najee Harris said he did not even know they could tie in the NFL. Which is amazing.
Hey, you see what happens when the Steelers don't have the refs on their side.
I would like to add the Lions are undefeated in November.
Yeah, they are. Saw a TikTok about that today. They're one of the better teams this month, that's for sure.
That is for sure.
And I just love to see the Steelers tie the Lions. I mean, it's hard to lose to the Lions, but the fact that they tied them just really makes my heart happy. I'm not a Steelers guy.
I hate the Steelers.
Yeah, I hate them. I think that's the word.
Oh yeah, the Steelers suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a Big Ben guy. Or Chase Claypool, honestly.
Well, Big Ben didn't even play in this game.
Yeah, he didn't play.
Sold. Mason Rudolph.
He didn't play.
Wait, he didn't?
I mean, no.
Oh,
no.
he played,
He
but
He played, but he didn't play.
yeah.
Well, he hasn't played ever.
He's been downhill ever since Myles Garrett hit him in the head with his helmet.
Yeah, I wonder if they tested him for CTE after that.
I would.
All right, moving on from that game, an absolute massacre in Boston, the Boston Massacre, second coming. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but the Patriots had 45, killing the Browns that only had 7. Baker Mayfield got hurt again, if I'm not mistaken.
What is up with this Browns team? Honestly,
I tell you what.
I'll tell you what's up.
Odell ain't the problem.
yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what's up, Andy. They're bad.
I, I've held out hope for him this whole year. I thought their defense is. I mean, I thought it was good, and then they give up 45 points to the Patriots.
Which, I
But
mean, to the
I don't
Browns'
know.
defense, I guess the Patriots are playing good. In the past 4 weeks, they've outscored their opponents like 150 to like a number that is not 150.
Yeah.
You're just killing it today.
I can't remember the whole stat, okay, but it was a lot. Like it was an impressive margin. I mean, you showed me today, Max, that Mac Jones is the number 1 graded rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I saw for getting a lot of hate about not forcing the ball down the field. He had a perfect 158.8 passer rating on throws over 10 yards in the air. It doesn't get better than that, like literally.
Yeah, as much as I've tried to deny his greatness so far this season, I don't know if I can do it any longer. Mac Jones might actually be good in the NFL.
I
Yeah.
hate that.
I hate it too because he's so easy to hate, or not really to hate, but so easy to call bad. But he
looking.
I
might
just don't
actually
get
be
it.
pretty good.
He's looking real similar to Tom Brady.
Stop.
Honestly, I mean, let's be honest. Belichick bringing up Tom Brady and his start. I mean, it's just they're looking pretty similar, like pretty similar situations to me.
Yeah.
Andy, I might
Well-
have to remove you from this podcast.
I mean, I feel like I'm stating the obvious there. I mean,
All jokes
Patriots-
aside, you really are. Though.
I mean, the
He
Patriots-
looks
on this
scary
podcast.
good. He looks
mean,
scary good.
I mean, the Patriots, they needed their gap year last year with Brady going to the Bucks. They had to deal with Scam Newton out there in New England. But I think they're starting to figure it out again this year without Tom Brady.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the 4-5 Chargers the 4-5 Vikings beating the 5-4 Chargers 27-20 at Los Angeles.
This is just becoming a theme on the pod, is that we just say that this is the last chance for the Vikings to do something. And this week they actually did do something. And they're still hanging around, I guess, at 4-5. The Chargers, I don't know about them. Were they 5-2 at one point?
I believe so, but I'm starting to think this ain't their year.
No. They're another young team, though.
Yeah, very similar to the Bengals, what I was talking about last week, is that they don't have to win now because they have so many young pieces.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll just swiftly move on from that game to the Panthers beat the Panthers 34 over the Cardinals 10. This was at the Cardinals Stadium as well, and we saw Cam Newton get into the end zone 2 times. Did he? 2 times?
I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on the record. That him scoring that first touchdown and then getting up on the camera and screaming, "I'm back," one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Really, I thought it was awesome.
There's just his voice. I don't know about it. He screamed it and his
Oh.
voice like cracked.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
made me
it's-
uncomfortable.
It
I
was
felt
just
like he
it
was
an
talking
uncomfortable
to me.
Yeah,
I felt like he was talking
It
to
was-
me, and I'm like, "Whoa, dude, you step away."
Yeah, I know. It was just weird. It had a weird vibe.
Yeah, it was. I saw a clip actually of him like coaching the offense on the sideline. It's like he did not skip a beat going to that team.
Nah, he owns the place.
He does. Do you think that he gets the start next week against his old coach?
I believe they said he will.
I don't
Should
know
be a
what they
good game.
said. I don't know what they said, but I think he probably should.
Yeah, I think he should as well. I saw something. I thought it was pretty funny. Somebody asked Ron Rivera if he had like a list of plays that he knew were good for Cam Newton. That way he can counter him. And he actually said yes. So
That'll be interesting.
we might see a hard counter for Cam Newton. Who knows? But moving on from that, we had the Eagles over the Broncos 30-13. I don't really have a lot to say about this game.
I mean, if you want to use the transitive property, which doesn't really work in football, you're really saying that the Eagles are better than the Cowboys.
It never
I
worked
mean-
for me in geometry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, you could say the Eagles are better than the Cowboys, but I think we all know.
You know what? Actually, I
Not
like
true.
that way.
The Cowboys beat the Eagles earlier this year.
They did pretty
Andy,
easily.
the obvious property rules out your transitive property.
Yeah,
The
I agree completely.
On a more serious note, we keep saying that me and Gabe keep saying that the Eagles aren't bad yet.
and it's
I'm starting to
still
think they're not bad.
no. They're not bad yet. I'm still
I-
sticking with our statement.
See, I've never been sold on the Eagles, honestly.
So
I mean, that's a decent win against the Broncos. I think the Broncos just I don't know how they beat the Cowboys. I didn't get to watch that game last week. Must have been the greatest game of their lives. Had to have been, but I don't know. I don't think the Eagles.
I
are
don't
gonna
know
win.
either because the Broncos aren't good.
Yeah.
yeah, it was more of the Cowboys just didn't show up, and the Broncos actually showed up. And in the NFL, anybody can beat anybody, so they just pretty much took care of them.
Yeah. For
Yep,
sure.
I think Nick Sirianni is going to be the answer for the Eagles head coach. I liked him when he was with the Colts, and right now he's putting a good product out on the field for the city of Philadelphia to watch. Who is a tough sports town to please.
Ruthless, even.
Yeah, they're crazy. They made fun of him for having a stutter.
Yeah, you can ask Ben Simmons about the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't think he'd have very nice things to say.
Yeah, probably not. But this is a football podcast. It's my bad.
Yeah. Moving on from that painfully average game, we have the Packers shutting out the Seahawks 17-0. All I really have to say about this game is everybody says let Russ cook.
And then he
Russ
proceeds
just
to
started a
burn
house
down the
fire with
whole
the oven.
burn down the whole kitchen.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Russ, there's no way Russ is 100%. He sucked.
Yep. I mean,
Packers.
both quarterbacks weren't really that great.
No, but I mean, we know Aaron Rodgers is bouncing back.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard not to with that team. The Packers are scary.
They
This
really
is the best
are.
Packers team
It
I think
is-
we've ever seen.
I kind of talked about a little bit on the last pod about how the Packers can still get it done. They can get it done pretty much in three ways now that we've seen. With Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball all across the field, we knew they could do that. They can get it done on the ground with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And then now they can get it done with defense. So
AJ Dillon looks really good.
he does. Is he
Yeah,
a
he-
rookie?
Waiver
Is he a
claim on him.
rookie or is he second-year player?
He's second year.
Second year.
Yeah, he played really well. Really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah,
That defense.
I don't have a ton to say about that game really.
No, I have kind of a sneaking suspicion that the Seahawks will actually put together a few games, but it'll be too little too late. I bet they finish like close to 500, maybe a little above.
Yeah, I
See,
mean, I could definitely see that.
the Seahawks for me are like one of those teams where their record is bad, but I feel like they're a lot better than what their record shows, like in terms of just talent.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
That offense. I mean, there's a lot of talent there.
I mean, Russ getting hurt kind of ruined their season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it did. And we might not even see Russ back there next year.
That's
Yeah,
weird to
certainly
think
a
about.
possibility.
It is. I don't know if I can imagine Russ playing in a different uniform.
That'll definitely take some getting used to, for sure.
But if somebody showed
Yeah.
me a picture of Tom Brady in a Bucks uniform in 2018, I would have probably hit him.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Adrian Peterson and Julio Jones with the Titans is still disturbing for me.
yeah, it is. If like somebody showed that to like the 5th grade me, I'd probably start crying.
It's an emotional change. Right
It
there.
is. Because
Yeah.
those are two of the guys that like kind of like for our generation, like make you fall in love with football a little bit.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And to see Adrian Peterson wearing 8 for the Titans just it hurts my heart.
Yeah, it does. I mean, good for him though. Still,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
still
happy for him.
kicking.
Yeah,
Still sweet, still
Yeah,
swinging the old tree
that's-
branch.
yeah.
All right. Moving on from that, we had the 6-4 Chiefs over the Raiders, 41-14. The Chiefs looked back in their 2020 mid-season form. They looked a lot better. Crap, what's that white safety that plays for the Chiefs? Daniel Swanson actually had an interception, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
He sucks.
I don't know
Probably
how
the
he's still
worst.
on the team. I'd hate to
Probably
see
the
their
worst.
practice squad safeties if they haven't moved them up yet.
Yeah. Probably the worst safety in the National Football League.
Eh.
Well, he's up there.
You got
He's
Blitz Boy
definitely
in
up
there somewhere.
Blitz boy.
Well, you should see who's playing safety for the Colts right now. Both their starting safeties are on IR.
Oh, man.
It is difficult to watch.
But talking about the game a little bit, I don't really know what this means for either team. I don't really keep up with either of them just a whole lot.
Thing for the
I feel-
Chiefs, especially for Mahomes, I mean, critics have been telling him, you got to check the ball down more. You're taking too many shots downfield, taking too many chances. That's why he's got all these interceptions. I mean, Darrell Williams, I would know. I had him in my lineup. 9 receptions, like 100 yards and a touchdown. Caught all of his targets. I mean, that's considerably more checkdowns for Mahomes than in the past. And I mean, they murdered the Raiders. He didn't throw a single pick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they killed him.
We saw a smarter Patrick Mahomes this season, or this game rather, because before
Yeah.
like the previous games this season, it kind of felt like he was playing the same way he did at Texas Tech. Like he was just trying to run around and throw into tight windows, on the run, sidearm everywhere. And
Yeah,
the
trying to play
difference
hero
is,
ball.
yeah, the difference is that he's playing NFL defenses, not Texas or Oklahoma State. So it didn't
Yeah,
really
for
work out
sure.
for him that well.
Yeah, moving on, we have a really surprising game to me, at least, is the 49ers beating down the Rams 31-10.
Yeah, this game was, I think it was another one that kind of came out of left field. We've talked about on this podcast before, kind of Kyle Shanahan. He might be on the hot seat a little bit, but this is what the 49ers can look like when they're healthy. They had George Kittle back this game. I saw a clip where he absolutely buried Von Miller.
Yeah, I was watching that live. I was waiting for that to get posted to ESPN.
Yeah.
I actually didn't see that one.
Oh, he got buried.
That's impressive. If you can do that to Von Miller.
It was a double team, but
Was it? I thought it was just straight up solo. It was on like a sweep, and he just took him outside the numbers and just took his
They're
lunch
running.
money. Just straight mugged him.
Just lunch
the
money.
running back chipped him, but I mean he got a piece of him and kind of got him going backwards, and then Kittle just buried him. I love Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I think it's time, including myself, because I really holding on to hope with Brandon Ayuk. But it's time to recognize how good Deebo Samuel actually is.
He had 5 carries for like
Yeah.
50 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, they were just setting him up in the backfield like they would a normal running back, and he was just like running it all over him.
Yeah, he's like he's their Swiss Army knife. Like he does everything for them.
He's like if Christian McCaffrey was a wide receiver.
Yeah, they live and die by him.
Yeah, because
Definitely.
he's kind of a hybrid. He could probably start in the NFL at running back.
The way he ran last night, I'd probably agree with that. Honestly, he ran all over the Rams.
Yeah, he played a really good football game. It's just amazing how they can use him from everywhere, and he can break so many tackles in the open field. It's amazing.
So what do you guys think that this means for the Rams? So the Rams have lost against the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, and now the 49ers.
I think they're still working out the kinks, just trying to.
Are they cursed?
Did they lose to the Bucks, or was it the Titans?
No, it was the Titans. My bad.
Oh, it's all right.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Are they cursed?
Odell.
Oh shoot! Yes.
Ever since Odell took that picture on like this yacht with the rest of the the New York Giants team, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's been all downhill from there. And
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
those of you listeners know how much I like curses. So I'm a believer in the Odell Beckham curse.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hate on Odell all I can, so I believe in the curse.
I'm not a big Odell guy either, but I think the Rams will probably be fine.
Yeah.
For most of the season, I've really in my own head thought they've been the team to beat in the NFC. These last 2 weeks have really been disproving that, but I still think they'll be okay. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
my worry is that the Titans broke them last week, but I think they've got a much needed bye this week for sure.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
Titans
absolutely.
might have hurt their momentum and confidence.
Who do they got
Yeah.
after the bye? Do you know?
Let me see. They've got Packers after the bye.
That's a tough slate of games.
Yeah, it is tough. That's a tough way to come off of a bye, especially after 2 rough losses,
Yeah. I bet they're glad they got the bye though.
for sure.
Well, that kind of concludes our wrap up of week 10. Moving on, we got several points we want to hit on. Starting with, kind of hit on all those teams.
I guess we'll just go ahead and start talking about our thoughts on roughing the passer in the NFL. For those of you that are not really familiar with it, roughing the passer is a penalty that the ref can throw. More specifically, the back judge can throw it, and it's pretty much when he believes that a defender hit the quarterback after he releases the ball, or sometimes even before if they hit him in the head or neck area. So
Or if
whatever they
land
think,
with their whole body.
yeah, and they can throw this flag, and 15 yards and a first down pretty much crushes any sort of momentum that the defense had. So I'll just kind of let you guys take it from there.
You only get it if you're a star quarterback.
Or if you're a quarterback that is like, I mean, when Cam Newton was in his prime, you saw it a lot. He had, like, I think he actually filed like some form of formal complaint to the league about how he never got any sort of unnecessary roughness hits against him because he was so big and strong that like he would get just mauled by defenders when he was dropping back the pass.
Kind of like the Hack-a-Shaq thing in the NBA.
Yeah.
Just where he's too big, too strong. It's hard to tell if he's hitting them or not. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there has to be some sort of changes with the whole NFL officiating system, just because, I mean, some of those roughing the passer calls are just awful. I mean, these defensive ends and defensive tackles are getting 15-yard penalties for looking at the quarterback a weird way.
Yeah, it's just like Gabe said, it's a momentum killer, you know.
And I feel like we're only seeing them in the fourth quarter in close games, or I guess those are the only ones that ESPN posts about. But
yeah,
you just can't have those things in close games in the fourth quarter. I mean, those are game killers. Those lose teams playoffs.
yeah, and just like the inconsistency almost, because you'll be watching a game, and at least for me last week, I don't know when it was, but I know on a couple instances I saw a quarterback get hit after they threw it. And that's been a roughing the passer call all year, which, I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, depends on how bad the hit is. If it's not that bad of a hit, to me, it shouldn't be a roughing the passer call. But some of them are getting called while around the league, like 85, 90% of them are being called. So, I mean, refs need to be consistent with that if they're going to call it.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to is that it gives the official too much power, like, in my opinion. And I just think the most infuriating time when this is called is when like a defender or like a D tackle or a defensive end is like going to sack the or not to sack the quarterback, but like to knock down a pass, and he misses, and then his hand comes down and like hits the quarterback on like the face mask or like the top of the helmet, and then the flag comes out, and you're like, that's why he's wearing a helmet. I don't understand how that's roughing the passer.
Yeah, I don't understand how if your finger hits the quarterback's helmet, how that's going to impact the quarterback's day in any way. It's just dumb at this point. The NFL, I mean, in my opinion, they have lots of rule changes they need to make, but this is one of my favorite ones to talk about just because it'd be so easy.
Yeah.
I feel like this, along with the taunting rules and penalties they've been throwing out this year, is just really frustrating to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the things I have problems with in the NFL, the catch or no catch, roughing the passer, taunting, and I have a huge problem with overtime, but we don't
Oh,
have 4 hours, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk about
yeah.
overtime. I'm very passionate about the overtime situation in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
The
too.
taunting just makes no sense to me because like these are normal people. Like after they make a big play, like they sack the quarterback, score a touchdown, gain a first down, like you want to see some emotion out of them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
fans like to see that kind of stuff. And it's better press for the league as well because you have places like Barstool and House of Highlights and ESPN and all these places like post them on
yeah,
their
for sure.
Instagram, their Twitter, social media.
Yeah.
And but so for some reason they just keep throwing the flags
It's
on
like
it.
the NFL. It's like the NFL doesn't want their players to be passionate, and I just don't get it. It's like not only are they doing something like really awesome in a game that they really love and stuff like that, they're making all kinds of money doing it, and they're
Yeah,
excited about it. Like Gabe, what would your reaction be if I gave you $100,000 right now?
I'd be pretty pumped.
Yeah, exactly. So when some of these defensive ends are making these sacks and they're getting really excited or something like that, they're probably getting a bonus for that.
Yeah. And it's a
So it's
tough league too. Like these guys are putting in hours on the like hours into practice, into film, rehab, everything leading up to this game. And then they get this big sack or score this touchdown or gain this really important first down. And they show that emotion because that's all their hard work paying off. And the league
Yeah,
just does not reward them for that at all.
and especially like these are a bunch of grown men out there, and it looks like the NFL is trying to protect their feelings, and I just don't like it because I just they're not letting him celebrate. Like if somebody celebrates a touchdown too much, they're gonna throw a flag on it because the other team may not like it. And in my mind, if the other team doesn't like it, well, guess what? They shouldn't let him score the touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that with taunting, it's become like too much of an emphasis. But I think there's definitely a line that players can cross and have crossed in the past.
Yeah, I'm not saying get rid of the taunting rule. I'm
Yeah.
saying don't call it when a guy spikes the ball.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
needs to be a fine line, I feel like. I feel right now there's just this gray area
yeah,
where it's like this guy does some sort of action and you're just like, "Oh, I don't know, he might get a flag for that." Like there should be a specific list of things that are
That you can't
not
do.
yeah, that are like completely off limits. Like getting up and I don't want to say like getting up in somebody's face, like maybe getting up in someone's face and pointing at them or I don't know any others like going over to the other team's sideline or something like that.
Yeah, but if you get up and flex in the direction of your opponent, I don't feel like that should be a taunting penalty.
No. No, me neither.
I mean, there's just certain things that I can understand the taunting flag for, but like the other day, I don't remember what team it was. It might have been the Ravens, like week 9. And I don't think it was. I don't know. But they just signed this practice squad dude. They brought him up for this one game. And he had to come in because somebody got injured. And he made a play. And he was like at midfield, like just in the middle of the field between like halfway between each sideline. And just like looking in the direction of the bench from like 30 yards away and saying something. Where they obviously couldn't hear him. And I don't even think he was directing it towards them. And they threw a
No, yeah,
flag for it.
he wasn't even directed at anybody. Like he was
Yeah.
facing away, and this guy came off the practice squad. He's probably worked so hard for this moment and waited for this moment in his entire life. Makes a really good play, is kind of excited about it, and the NFL finds him.
Yeah, that was a horrible play, and
That
it
looks
it
awful for
changed
the
the
NFL.
it changed the complexion of that game, if I remember right.
The NFL will always be the no fun league.
That's what it's looking like this year for sure.
Yep.
All right. The next topic that we wanted to talk about was running backs in the NFL. Kind of what their future is and are they disposable? Like, I don't know. When you saw the NFL like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, all these really great teams had a running back. Like the Cowboys had Emmitt Smith. The Lions had, well, the Lions weren't a great team, but they had Barry Sanders. Um, the Chargers were really good. They had LaDainian Tomlinson. That was in the 2000s. And nowadays, I just feel like you don't really see that as much. You see a lot more running back by committee. You see younger guys in there. A lot of these older dudes don't really get extensions on their contracts. And when you do see an extension, it really doesn't work out in the team's favor when they extend a running back.
No, certainly in recent history, it hasn't. I'm not ready to say that running backs are dispensable, disposable, stuff like that. I'm willing to say that running backs are going to have to adapt to be more of scat back type things, kind of receiving backs. I think we're going to see more Christian McCaffrey type players in the NFL in the future.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's not like the fullback. Like, it's not a dead position by any means. A good team is going to have a good running back. But I think what we're seeing now is that people realize that there's probably 50 running backs in the NFL that I would consider like good, average. Let's just say average. Like you could put them in the game. Like a good example is the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that. But you also have your top tier running backs. You have your Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. That really, I mean, that team is not as good without them. Like, how many? You were saying this the other day, Gabe. How many wins do you think the Colts have if they don't have Jonathan Taylor? If their running back's Marlon Mack?
2,
Yeah,
maybe.
having a good running back like that, it makes a big difference. Like for your team, like even the Bills. Like the Bills don't have that big name running back. I think they had 3 different running backs on Sunday score a touchdown, because that's how much of a committee they are, and they're still as good of a team as they are. And just imagine what they would be like if they had like a Jonathan Taylor. Like they'd be
Yeah.
unstoppable.
Yeah, I agree. But then the kind of problem arises that like so we'll just go with the Colts here for the sake of the situation. So, and whenever Jonathan Taylor's contract runs out, it's probably a 3-year deal, I'd imagine, like most rookies. Do you think the Colts pay him? Because he's going to want money. And if the Colts don't pay him, then a different team will. So, and I mean, you saw it with McCaffrey. The Panthers paid McCaffrey after he played really well. And then ever since they paid him, he's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. So you could argue that hasn't worked out well for them. You could also argue that paying Ezekiel Elliott, or the Cowboys paying Ezekiel Elliott, hasn't really worked out for them. He's playing a lot better this year, but pretty much ever since they started paying him, he did not play very good football. That's coming from a Cowboys fan as well. So what do you think the Colts do, or what do you think the Colts should do?
I mean, I don't know. He's just such a talent, and he's single-handedly gotten them a lot of their wins this year, a few of their wins this year. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they just let him walk. Like they gotta like just offer him.
Yeah, they're going to throw some sort of contract at him, but if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm not taking a 2 or a 3-year deal. Like I want 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to lock up his money because he has his most value whenever his contract runs out in
Yeah.
a year or so because of how good he's playing right now.
He's going to want years and he's going to want guaranteed money because at a violent position like running back, I mean, you can get hurt any given game with the kind of hits you're taking.
Yeah, especially next year. Jonathan Taylor's probably going to be in the prime of his career next year. Like next year might be his best season he ever has.
Yeah, we
That would
could
be my
see a
prediction.
historic season from Jonathan Taylor if we don't see one this year.
I mean, we are kind of seeing one this year, but it's just, I don't know. You'd have to ask me again in a year, I guess, because it kind of just depends. If next year maybe he because you never know. He could pull a hamstring. He could miss 4 games. And that just raises so many questions because he's
Yeah.
never had anything like that. He was saying in an interview the other day he hasn't missed a practice since like junior high.
Yeah. So I kind of want like a specific answer from you, Max. So I'm going to set up this hypothetical situation. So you're the GM of the Colts or whoever pays the contracts pretty much. So the GM, and Jonathan Taylor finishes this year great. And then he has a historic season next year, like top 3 in the NFL rushing yards, 18 touchdowns. What do you do? And he wants guaranteed money and he wants a good contract.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna offer him 4 years. I'm gonna front load the contract and I'm gonna give him tons of money in the first 2 years of that, but I'm gonna make it to where I can cut him. Because I mean that's what a lot of NFL contracts are. They're very front loaded. That's what the Colts tend to do. They tend to front load their contracts so they're not locked into a guy that long. So he's still gonna get all his money. It's just gonna be shorter years. But also the type of running back he is, he catches a lot of passes out of the backfield. Some of those passes Wentz throws them, he catches them at like the line of scrimmage and gets drilled, which terrifies me. But I think I mean, you can't let that guy walk.
No, you can't. But if you only give him 4 years and a front loaded contract,
He's not going to
then
accept that.
I really don't know if he's going to accept that or not.
He knows his worth. I mean, running backs like that know what they're worth, and they're not. I mean, it's obviously ideal for somebody to sign a running back to that type of contract, but I mean, that's just not how professional players of any sport are. They're greedy and they want to get as much money as they possibly can, and most of the time, they don't really care where they go.
Yeah, I don't know if greedy is. I don't know if that's the right word. Really, like they want financial security rather.
Like, I mean, if I was in the NFL, you call me greedy all you want. I want all the money I can get.
Yeah, and I've seen multiple times that from former players that is like not a problem in the locker room. Like, it is unanimously agreed upon that. Like, if a player's in a dispute about their contract, like you just let them be like they got to go get their money for their life.
Yeah, I'm not dogging on players to do that. I'd do the same thing if I'm making millions, but I mean that's kind of what it is. I mean, there's players that will spend years of their career one place and their heart and souls into that team, that community. Then they'll get some more money somewhere else, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, I'm going there," and then they'll just forget about everything that happened with that other organization, which is kind of my point.
Yeah, Gabe, going back to what you asked me, I see no way a team throws 5 or 6 years at Jonathan Taylor. It just doesn't happen.
The Cowboys threw 6 at Zeke.
No, I thought they threw. I'm pretty sure they threw 4 at Zeke.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure they threw 4 at Zeke because I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure Jonathan Taylor has a 4-year deal. So,
yeah, Zeke signed a 6-year, $90 million contract.
Oh my God!
With 7,500,000 guaranteed. Or no. 7,500,000 signing bonus with 50 million guaranteed. Yeah, so he signed a 6-year deal.
That is insane, and I don't know why the Cowboys did that, but
I bet McCaffrey's deal is similar.
Really?
Did you say that Zeke's was 6 years, 50 million?
90 million.
Oh, 90? Okay.
That's a lot of money. I just don't know. And I'm pretty sure Jonathan Taylor's got a 4-year rookie contract, so he'll have 2 years left. I believe the second round picks get 4 years and the first round picks get 4 years with a 5-year option.
Oh, really? So McCaffrey signed a 4-year, $64 million contract.
I would throw something like 4 years, 75, 70 million at Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I feel like that would be pretty enticing as a running back, assuming the Colts O-line is still really good and assuming he's happy in Indianapolis. I would assume he's happy in Indianapolis.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's contract he agreed to was a 4-year rookie contract with a total contract value of like 8 million.
Yeah, he's gonna be getting a significant amount more than 8 million
Yeah.
guaranteed. His next
Yeah,
contract
I
is
mean,
gonna be
Yeah.
that's for sure.
that's not much for a guy who runs the entire Lucas Oil Stadium right now. That's not very much money.
Yeah. Aaron Jones this past offseason signed a 4-year, $48 million contract, and that's pretty generous, but I would consider Jonathan Taylor a whole nother tier above Aaron Jones. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
for
too.
sure.
I think
Easily.
the Colts would like to give him that kind of deal, but I think he'd go
Oof.
somewhere else for that.
Purely running, Jonathan Taylor is a lot better than Aaron Jones.
And receiving, he's every bit as good.
Every bit as good might be a little bit too far, but he is
Yeah.
a competent receiver. Like,
He's not a Derrick Henry where he just never catches the football, but Aaron Jones is a little bit more of an established receiver from the running back position, in my opinion.
I would agree.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair.
All right. That conversation kind of went a few different ways, but I think next week kind of want to move on to our playoff predictions. I'll let you start, Max.
Yeah, my playoff predictions. So at AFC, I have the 1 seed Bills, 2 seed Titans, 3 seed Chiefs, 4 seed Ravens, 5 seed Patriots. Can I go ahead and say my NFC predictions too, so we can just talk about all my predictions?
Yeah, go for it.
In the NFC, I have 1 Packers, 2 Cardinals, 3 Cowboys, 4 Buccaneers, 5 Rams, 6 Vikings, 7 49ers. Thoughts?
I don't know how I feel about the Raiders sneaking in
Yeah,
there.
they look a little
I don't-
fraudulent.
Yeah, I've never really been sold on them. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
The Colts at a 7 seed is not entirely impossible, but
I think
Highly,
I-
it's not
I'm gonna
probable.
I'm gonna disagree with that pretty intensely. Considering their schedule, they've got. Let me look real quick just to clarify who they've got coming up. Yeah, they've got the Bills, Bucks, Patriots, Cardinals, and Raiders to finish off their season. I don't think there's any way they get there, especially with how many decent teams are in the AFC.
yeah, the Colts are good. They could go off any given week. You never know when Jonathan Taylor's going to rush for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I don't know. They'd be lucky to win 3 more games judging off that schedule.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse than what I thought it was.
Yeah. They have the Jags, the Texans, and the Jags again. Wait, no, they don't have the Jags again. No, they just play the Jags once. And they have the Jags and the Texans. But other than that, their schedule is pretty rough the rest of the way out.
I
Yeah,
think they can win 5 more games.
they can.
Mm,
I guess any team can in theory, but I don't know if they.
Not-
I don't know if they will or not.
I don't think there's any way they win 5 more games. They've got 7 games left. So that means they would have to beat they'd have to beat the Bucks, Bills, or Cardinals or Patriots. And I think the most realistic one out of those would probably have to be the Patriots, considering the Cardinals are healthy when they play. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule. Moving
You-
on to
you
your.
you just watched the Colts go beat the Bills next week.
I hope they do. That would be
They-
awesome because I'm dogging on the Colts right now, and I will take accountability if they go beat the Bills next week.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Moving on to your NFC standings, your top 5s are. The NFC is very top heavy, so I'm pretty sure we all have the same top 5, just maybe in a little bit different order. And then your 6 and 7 seeds they're debatable.
Honestly, I was looking through and I couldn't find anybody to put there. I'm not comfortable with those picks. Like, I don't think that's it.
Yeah. But nobody really knows what the 6 and 7 seed's gonna look like, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird. I find myself wishing every day that the Colts were in the NFC.
Yeah.
They'd have a lot better shot to make one of those last 2 wildcard spots if they were. That's for sure.
I also, I guess, kind of going back up to your AFC, I think that there is actually a decent chance that the Patriots, what are they in the AFC East, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's also a decent chance they win it, but I kind of expect the Bills to go on a streak here.
Yeah, it could. But I guess we'll just go ahead and move on to Andy. You can go ahead and state yours.
All right. So for my AFC 1 seed, I've got the Titans. 2, you got the Bills. 3, you got the Ravens. 4, Chiefs. And then the first wild card, Patriots. Then Chargers, and then Bengals. Then for the NFC, got the 1 seed, Packers. 2, Cowboys. 3, Rams. 4, Buccaneers. 5, Cardinals. 6, Saints, and 7, Vikings.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think the Chargers or the Bengals make the playoffs personally.
That's a fair statement considering how they've looked
It is, but
past year.
I think that the Bengals have a better chance than both the Niners and the Vikings. And the Chargers, in my opinion.
I mean,
I could
Chargers-
see that.
the Chargers' remaining schedule. This is a big reason why I put them with at that 6th spot. Their remaining schedule is not hard. I mean, they've got the Steelers, they got the Broncos twice, they play the Chiefs, then they play the Bengals, Giants, Texans, Raiders. Like, those are not, any of those teams are not like top tier AFC or NFC contenders.
Yeah, I'd say
No,
that's a
it's-
fairly average schedule.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got opportunities to get back on track. I'm not liking their past 2 weeks, especially with how close they played the Eagles and then losing to the Vikings, but I still think they sneak in there.
Yeah, moving on to your NFC. Really, the only thing about this is that I think that you're kind of undervaluing the Cardinals a little bit. That'd be
You're-
my only critique.
And that's a fair statement. The Cardinals they've been very good. I'm a big Rams guy. I believe in the Rams. They've looked horrible the last 2 weeks, but I mean, the Rams and the Cardinals are kind of on the same like wavelength in terms of record now, since the Cardinals haven't been healthy the past 2 weeks. So I think from here on out, it's really just a toss up, and in that case, I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah.
My only problem I have with your NFC, I actually kind of think the Cardinals will fall off a little bit. I still think they'll be the 5 seed. Well, I still think I think they'll be a top seed, but I don't think they're gonna like just go off.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints make the playoffs, but I mean I could see how you put that.
I mean, it was looking at those possible wildcard teams for me. It was just I didn't know, honestly. The Saints' schedule isn't
Yeah, it's
awful.
weird, man.
Yeah, your guess is just as good as ours.
Yeah.
I mean, their schedule isn't awful. They've got Bills, Cowboys, Bucks. Those are all tough. But then they got the Eagles, Jets, Dolphins, Panthers, and Falcons.
Well, lucky for them, the Eagles are going to be bad by the time they play them, according to Gabe.
They will be.
That'll be week 11. So this week,
Well,
Oh,
they may not be bad
Never
yet.
mind.
I hope they are.
I think that they're gonna go downhill at about week 13. Mark my words.
All right.
That's it.
Like, and they're not just gonna like slightly decline. It's gonna
So you
be
think they're going to fall off a cliff?
yeah. They might. I don't think. I don't know the remaining schedule. Is my hot take. They don't win a game after week 13.
All right. Let me pull up their schedule really quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I got it.
All right, you got it, Max.
I'm gonna change it to week 14. Before you go ahead and rip me apart.
So they got the Saints, Giants, Jets, football team, Giants again, Eagles again, and Cowboys. Wait, no.
The Eagles play the
Giants
Eagles.
again, Giants again, Washington again,
Oh my
I mean, I
gosh.
could see him finishing over 500.
I didn't realize their schedule was that easy. Oh my
That's a
gosh.
cakewalk.
Well, let me
Wow.
kind of talk about this a little bit. The Bucks. Well, we all know that the football team beat the Bucks. The football team looked a lot better. My boy Antonio Gibson's gonna have a good rest of the season.
Gabe, I'll let you take your statement back right now if you want.
No, I'm sticking with it. I'm not a
He'll get-
coward.
He'll get his solid 10 touches a game.
So that means you have the Eagles losing to consecutively the Jets, the football team, the Giants.
The
The
Giants will
football team
also have
again.
Saquon Barkley.
Well, will they?
I hope.
For fantasy sake, also just for Saquon. But they have the football team again, and then they have them boys.
Hey man, I just got one thing to say before we move on to week 11. The fortune
no.
favors the bold. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's I have respect for that statement.
Yeah, I mean,
I have respect for that.
whatever.
All right, so my AFC and NFC goes. So for the AFC, I got Bills at the 1 seed, and then Ravens, Titans, Chiefs, Patriots, Bengals, and then Chargers. And then NFC, I got Packers, Cowboys, Bucks, Rams, Cardinals, Saints, and Panthers.
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
Kind of the same thing I said to Andy. I don't think the Bengals or the Chargers are going to make the playoffs, but I mean, I'm rooting for Herbert and I'm also rooting for Burrow, but I'm also rooting for the Colts.
Yeah.
But I would be fine with the Patriots losing out. I don't know. I mean, they're not going to just because they play the Colts, but
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that the
I
Patriots
just
might
don't
have the
believe in the
5 seed
Bengals.
locked in.
I just don't believe in the Bengals or the Chargers.
I believe in the Bengals and the Chargers offenses. That's what I believe in. Their defenses, I have no belief in them. But I think their offense has enough firepower to where it's going to get them some wins down the stretch.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I agree with Andy. That's ultimately why I put them in there. Is we've seen the best of both of these teams at points this season, and I think we could see that again, and that'll push them over the hump into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it definitely.
Yeah, I don't really have any disagreements with your AFC.
Yeah,
What about the NFC? Yeah.
Your NFC, I'll kind of just say the same thing I told Andy. I don't think the Saints make the playoffs with Trevor Siemian at quarterback.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Definitely fair.
Yeah, it is. I don't know about the Panthers. I mean, unless Cam Newton can reignite them.
He's
'cause Sam
back.
Darnold- He's back. Yeah, for sure. He's back. I mean, Darnold was looking horrible for
Yeah,
the past
Darnold's gonna
4
be
weeks.
flipping burgers here soon.
Yeah, he's on his way to McDonald's for sure. But I mean, it could definitely happen because those last couple spots in the NFC are wide open, in my opinion. They're wide open.
Yeah, they're anybody's spot at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't personally pick the Panthers, but it could definitely happen.
Yeah, I mean, kind of picking apart my own rankings. I guess the Bucks being at 3 is at the beginning of the season. It wouldn't have been that outrageous, but they lost against the Saints, had their bye week, and then lost against the football team. So they got some stuff to figure out, to say the least.
Yeah, they're my 4 seed. Out of the division winners, I have them last.
Yeah, you could also argue that I am undervaluing the Rams and the Cardinals, but who knows at this point?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll
moving
just
on,
go
I
ahead
believe
next.
we're gonna do our Week 11 predictions. So I guess I'll say the game, and then we'll all predict our outcome.
Sounds good.
All right. So our first game, our Thursday night game, we have Patriots at Falcons.
I think the Falcons might make this game close just because it will be in Atlanta, but I think the Patriots win.
Yeah, I think um I was thinking about saying I think this game might be closer than what people think, but after seeing that complete dismantling of the Falcons, I think the Patriots are probably going to win this one without much of a sweat.
All right. Bold prediction. Number 1 of the week.
You're really gonna
Falcons-
start off with this. You're really gonna start your
You
predictions.
got a lot of games to pick
On
from. You
Thursday
pick
night
this one.
football. Anything can happen on Thursday night football. There's been weirder stuff happen. Falcons over the Patriots.
We're
Yeah.
gonna hold you to that word
Yeah,
for
I know.
sure.
Yeah. You know, it'd be awesome if the Falcons were up 28-3 and they lost.
That'd be
I
like
think the city of Atlanta would revolt.
that would be pretty hilarious, honestly. I think that's what I'm rooting for now that you bring it up. I'm rooting for
That
that
would make
exact
my week.
situation.
Honestly, it doesn't even have to be 28-3. I just want to see a comeback.
Yeah, just a good primetime game because like that doesn't really seem like on the surface it's going to be very entertaining.
Definitely not.
No. Let's see. Next game we have Saints at Eagles.
I'm gonna stick with my word. Eagles aren't bad yet. They're gonna win this game against the Saints.
Really, I'm going to pick them to lose this game against the Saints.
Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Saints too. I think this game will be close. I think it'll be close, but I'm still going to go with my gut and go with the Saints.
Next, we got a barn burner at MetLife.
The Dolphins at the Jets. Yeah, I don't even care who
Hey,
wins
man,
this game.
Dolphins, they're gonna keep it rolling.
If their defense balls out like they did against the Ravens, they'll shut them out.
Brian
No,
Flores, he's got this team. They're rallied. Mike White's gonna throw 4 more interceptions.
Jesus?
No, he'll only throw 3.
That's
They're
a
like
good game
Jesus
for
of interceptions. Mike White.
Yep. Next, we have Washington at Carolina. I mean, I'm going Panthers, but
Yeah, assuming McCaffrey doesn't get hurt in the first quarter or anything like that, I'll take the Panthers for sure.
you jinx it.
He's back.
He's back.
Stop saying that.
That's all you guys need to know about my prediction.
He's back. That's
Yep,
good.
that tells us all we need to know. I hope DJ Moore has a good game. I just traded for him.
He's due. He's more due than probably anybody in fantasy.
He's doo-doo is what he is.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? He's back.
He's
He's
back.
back. He's
The whole
back.
Panthers team is back.
He's back.
Oh.
You might want to cut that out.
That was bad. That was the worst impression I've ever heard.
Moving on. We have Colts at Bills.
Bills.
I'm curious to see this money line, this over under.
I'm taking it.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably no matter what. I'm probably gonna take the Bills minus
It's-
14, whatever.
It's probably
gonna
going to be Bills minus 6,
Yeah, that'd be
3.5, maybe. It could be 3.5.
I bet it's 6. I bet it's 5.5.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
definitely taking the Bills. in
Hey,
that
I'm going
one.
Colts.
Yeah, we already knew that.
Next we have the Lions at the Browns.
The Browns come out in this game just angry. In the dog pound. They're mad. They're going to dismantle the Lions. That's my take.
Here's what I'm gonna say. This is more of a fantasy standpoint. I think Hawkinson has a bounce back game. I don't know how many points he's gonna score. I think he catches a touchdown.
I
I'll
hope
tell you
you're
what.
I hope you're right.
You
I think
know
he
what?
catches a touchdown.
You know what?
Oh my god, you're just on
Let's
a roll
hear it.
this week.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead, Max. The floor is yours.
You know, I don't think I can.
Oh,
We-
come
You
on.
built
it
We
The
gave
Lions-
you the
built it up.
floor.
You gotta
Lions are
say it.
The Lions are beating the Browns.
Oh my goodness.
That, okay,
That would be
by
that would be
10.
the
By 10.
You think
that's bold.
that is bold, my friend.
That's
Hey,
I don't know, man. That would be the icing on the cake for the Browns, for sure.
The nail in the coffin for
The
the
nail in the
Browns.
coffin,
that's
whatever.
not the icing in the cake. That's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's the finishing blow. That's the RKO.
yeah.
RKO off the
Man,
top
I'm
rope
root-
for the Browns. right
I mean,
there.
just to be clear, we're all rooting for the Lions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how can you not root for the Lions? Dan Campbell almost cried when they moved to 0-3.
Oh, that's
Dan
awesome.
Campbell. Oh my gosh. he
Dude,
can't say
I don't know about you guys. I would run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell. I would go fight a bear for Dan Campbell.
Man, he would love that guy if he's your coach.
How could you not?
Here's
Man, that's awesome.
an interesting thing that might go against the love for Dan Campbell that I saw. Maybe possibly future podcast guest Mr. Brennan Malone
Oh no.
showed us in class an article, because we're talking about extreme ownership, because this is a leadership class, right?
Yep.
So like taking accountability, and there's an article about Dan Campbell and the Lions and about how in his press conferences he's just taking all the blame for all these losses and what the Lions are doing wrong. But then in the locker room, he's just blaming all the players and saying they're playing bad. Now, I don't know how true that is.
Don't ruin this for me, Andy.
I don't know how true that is, but there's knowledge that something I've seen, so I figured I'd put it out there.
How does
I
Malone
live
how does
by one
Malone
rule.
figure out who's in the Lions locker room?
He don't
I have
know.
no idea.
Let me say this.
have no idea.
I live by one rule. It is that if Brennan Malone tweets it, it's wrong.
If it comes out of Brennan Malone's mouth, it's wrong.
I
And if he's
can't
listening
wait.
to this right now, leave a comment.
I cannot wait for him to be on this podcast. I'm gonna give that a listen for sure.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting.
He's gonna
day.
come on here, and the first thing he's gonna say is that Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback, and then I'm just gonna leave the call.
Yeah, you just need to kick him off if he says anything.
All right,
like
no,
that.
I'll kick him off.
Yeah, that's just if you say something like that, you have no credibility.
No, well, he never did. He also said he was winning out in fantasy 5 weeks ago. He hasn't.
Yeah, he's also the same guy that traded me Cooper Kupp for CD Lamb.
And then he traded CeeDee Lamb for Tyler Lockett and Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope he's not listening to this, because if he's listening to this, he's not coming on the podcast.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, even if he is listening, we tell this to him every day.
That's true.
This is nothing different.
He needs to hear it.
All right, we need to move. We need to keep on track. Week 11.
All right. We have the 49ers at the Jaguars.
Niners.
Niners.
Yeah, give me the Niners on this one.
All right. We have Texans at Titans.
Titans in convincing fashion.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
guys.
agree.
I feel strongly about this one.
We don't got time for this, Max.
Texans. No. Okay. I swear. The Texans beat the Titans once a year. They do. They beat the Titans once a year.
Maybe with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, not with freaking Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor is awesome when he doesn't have a punctured lung. Packers at Vikings.
Packers.
I'm
Packers.
I think the Packers, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have for an upset pick because I'm not looking at the week 11 slate right now. Is that a home? Can one of you guys tell me who's home in that game?
The Vikings. It's at Minneapolis.
Vikings. Okay. If that's in Lambeau, I'm going to go ahead and say there's no chance the Vikings win that. But I think the Vikings beat the Packers this week. That's going to be my pick. Packers defense is really good, but the Vikings just beat the Chargers. Could have beat the Ravens for sure. I think the Packers are due for a bad game.
I love picking upsets in divisional games, so I love it. But I think the Packers are going to win. Ravens, Bears, Ravens. At Bears.
I think it's close. I think this is a close game. I'm going to take the Ravens, though. It might take another game-winning kick from Justin Tucker, but I'm going to take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens too. The Bears are just not it.
Yeah, I would agree. Bengals at Raiders.
I'm going to take the Bengals in this one.
For the sake of my playoff predictions, I'm going to take the Bengals. But this game could definitely be close for sure.
I'm
It
gonna
could
take
go
the
either
Raiders,
way.
but yeah, it could go either way. Cardinals, Seahawks. Whew, gosh dang.
If Murray doesn't play, I'm taking the Seahawks.
I'm going to take the
Honestly.
Seahawks as well. I think that Russ finally gets healthy. Yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks.
I'm going Cardinals, but
Now, if Murray plays, I'm taking the Cardinals.
I'm
But
pretty sure he is gonna play.
yeah, I haven't been checking up. I haven't
Even
checked
if
up on him.
even if he is going to play, I think I'm still going to go with the Seahawks.
Okay. I mean, I respect it. Cowboys at Chiefs.
I think with that Chiefs defense, there's just no way they beat the Cowboys with how good their offense is. So I'm gonna take the
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them boys in that one.
I'm going to take America's team as well. I think this could be one of the best games of the year, though. Like, very high scoring, I think.
I'm gonna say the Cowboys win, but I think it's gonna be really close. And especially at Arrowhead Field, that's a tough place to play because it's so loud.
It could also depend on weather as well. Rain,
This is an upset
cold.
possibility, but I'm not gonna pick it.
No, me neither.
Steelers at Chargers on Sunday night. That's not a very interesting Sunday night game. Just because the Steelers are fraudulent.
I don't think I'm ever gonna pick the Steelers in a predicting of their game unless they're playing like a horrible team. So I'm gonna take the Chargers here.
I think I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. This is going to be a little bit of an upset pick for me. Well, maybe not. I guess it's not technically an upset, but I'm going to take the Steelers.
Chargers. Giants at Buccaneers. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Buccaneers win this. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath. I think it's gonna be like 40-something to 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be death.
What do you think, Gabe?
I'm going to take the Buccaneers. It'll be closer than 40-something to 10. It'll be by about 2 touchdowns, maybe 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with this Monday night matchup.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm definitely gonna take the Bucks, but can't really say I'm looking forward to that Monday night game.
Yep. Well, I believe that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Andy, for coming on the pod. Hopefully we can have you back sometime.
It was fun. I've always wanted to start my own podcast about whether it be baseball or fantasy football or whatever. So yeah, this was fun. This is one of my dreams, one of my smaller dreams come true. So thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad we can fulfill your dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep.
Before we
As
let you
always-
go, I would like for you guys to follow us on Twitter at capital ITL underscore or not underscore lowercase POD pod. From there, you can follow both mine and Max's Twitter, and then we'll also give Andy a shout out on there as well. You follow him too.